Good morning, YouTubers. It is 7:40 a.m. It's 16 degrees outside in Hoffer Elbonton, and it is March 20th. I'm walking down the stairs because I got a lot to talk about today. Today I will be reviewing Caliban's War. That's book 2 of the Expanse series. And I already reviewed the first one and compared it with the TV show. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. And I will do my best not to give any spoilers away. But there are certain things that I have to talk about. And that is the proto-molecule. Anyway, so as I was reading the second book, I was a little pushed back about the idea of, is this book narrative-driven, that's plot-driven, where things have to happen, and character-driven, where the characters choose to make things happen. And I really believe that the books are plot-driven or narrative-driven, and that's because of the proto-molecule. Now, the proto-molecule in and of itself has a design, and therefore it carries out that design. We don't know what that design really is. You kind of start to see it at the end of the second book. And therefore, because this algorithm, this proto-molecule is doing what it's doing, and it's not changing, everyone has to react to it. Now, therein lie, you can say, oh, it's character-driven because how they react. And I just don't buy that. There are very few times where the characters have real decisions in the book. And I don't want to say that the book you can see what's going to happen in the future, but given the characters, given their backgrounds, which I really don't like how those are explored, usually in internal dialogue format, you kind of know what the characters are going to do in a given situation. Now, that being said, you do have this really interesting arc at the beginning of the story about Holden and how he decides to stop killing people. And again, this is all seen very clearly and said very clearly through Naomi, and this leads to a predictable shape of the narrative. Okay, so that being said, is it a good book? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Will I read the next one? Definitely. So, let's talk about what's different in this book and what I liked and what I didn't like. So the book starts off with Bobby, by far the best character in the entire freaking book. She is a Martian space marine, so pretty much you have me right there. That being said, I don't really get a lot of that idea. You definitely understand from the first book, and more so the second book, that the difference between Mars and Earth is great, and the culture is very, very different. That being said, there's this really interesting part at the beginning where she's looking over the line at the Earth Marines and finding similarities between the two military units. The second character that they really bring in to this book is the politician, which I cannot say her name, so I'm just going to call her A, because her name starts with A. Avelina, I don't know. She's the Indian badass politician lady. I don't really understand why she even has a point of view in the book. Bobby and her are together for most of the book, and yet they jump between them and Holden. So those are your 3 point of views in the book. In the first book, there was just Miller and Holden. Miller and Holden are two very different people. They start in very two different places, and it's fun to see how their two lives intersect. Now, Bobby and Miss A, politician woman, they start off at different places, but very quickly they're together, and it just, you just get a little different internal narrative from the both. Not that big of a difference. I would have liked to see maybe a different point of view, maybe Naomi, or I don't know, maybe one of the generals, General Najiwa. He'd have been interesting to see what's going on in his head and why he's making the decisions he made. So that's one of the big differences, is the point of view. Three people in the second book and 2 people in the first book. I really enjoyed the first book much more. I really thought it had more going on. I don't want to say action, but more interesting decisions, more things happening. I definitely understand this is kind of going on the hero's journey or the trilogy arc, but I found the second book to be okay, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. The really big difference is because you have this focus of this politician, you are in that arena. And that is an arena that I seldomly enjoy. So you have her with the backstabbing and lots of face-to-face, he's saying this but really means this kind of intrigue, which maybe some of you like, I'm sure some of you like. But for me, it was like, well, okay, that's fine. I know this guy's a piece of shit. I really don't need the proof positive or how another person believes they're a piece of shit. I know they're a piece of shit. So there's that. Holden really got put on the back burner this book, which I thought was kind of wrong. And continuing on with it, I thought was kind of wrong. Going back to the plot-driven, there is a ridiculous monster in your spaceship. And they have to get it out of the spaceship, kill it, whatever. I thought that the decisions that they made were practical, but in reality, I did not feel like this was a big deal. And this kind of leads me to my last point of the book. At no time did I feel that anyone was going to die. There was no belief, no suspended belief that anyone was in real danger at all in the book. And this really made it fall flat for me. Put it at a 7.5, maybe even less. I didn't believe that Bobby was going to die when she had her final showdown. I didn't believe the ship was going to blow up in this final space battle. I just knew everyone was going to be okay. And it kind of reminded me of, we have the crew in the Millennium Falcon, and it's okay, we're going to get out of this without a scratch. And that is exactly what happened. The Fellowship has now been created, and everybody's a super character, so we're all going to live. That being said, I really, really hope that in the next book, somebody dies. One of the main characters dies. And I hope it's not just a throwaway character like Alex or Amos, the engineer or the pilot. I really hope that it's maybe Holden or maybe Naomi. That would really change the narrative decisively, but I don't think that's going to happen. So it's a good book. I'm definitely going to start reading the third one, most likely today. I'll go out and buy it. Okay, so let's talk about the title. The title is Caliban's War. At no point in the book is the word Caliban ever mentioned. There's no place called Caliban, there's no character called Caliban, there's nothing called Caliban, and yet that's what the book's called. Now, if you are very literate, you will know that Shakespeare's Tempest has a character called Caliban, and this ties in with the story. But there's no reference. There's nothing. I find this to be sloppy, and I think he could have just titled it something else, or at least referenced Shakespeare in the book. That being said, that is Caliban's War, the second book in the Expanse series. Have a great day.